Hello, Top Fan Rivalry followers, supporters. Welcome to Friday. It's the end of the week. It is officially the end of the baseball season. You cannot end the baseball season without bringing in the one, the only, the co-host extraordinary. Shouldn't even say co-host. The hostess with the mostest, the big guy himself, Big Mikey Bleeds Blue. Mikey, let's do it. Let's talk bleeding blue, huh?
Talk about it. 2024 World Series champions, baby.
Okay, I've been joking about that for about 6 months, and people like make fun of me. Now it's a reality. I don't know, Mikey.
I do recall on score, the morning that you'd repeat the scores, you'd always say and the Dodgers beat and the 2024 World Series champion Dodgers beat the Blue Jays 5-3, or however you wanted to do it. It was always the World Series champion Dodgers.
A little crazy, huh? Just call me Bill O'Domus. I'll be here till Wednesday, tip the waitress. So, all right. So let's talk about the World Series. It ends in 5 games. First off, I'm going to have you break down the World Series, but before I do that, I'm going to ask you this question. Did you
Okay.
ever suspect that the Dodgers would play the Yankees this tough and this tight?
I mean, I knew offensively we could, and bullpen wise we could.
Mm-hmm.
Really outside of Jack Flaherty's outing yesterday, our starters were amazing. Um, for what we got from them most of the season. Walker Bueller for a lot of the year was, let's be honest, a liability. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
his ERA was 5.7, 5.8. Just wasn't the same guy that we'd seen. And two Tommy Johns are gonna do that for you, but um man, he righted the ship at the right time. At the end of the year here. Yamamoto, phenomenal. Obviously, he did basically what he did against the Yankees in the regular season when he faced them, which was his best outing of the year. Really, was against the Yankees in the middle of the season. So, yeah, that me and you talked about it a lot before the series started, before the playoffs started. I mean, coming down the stretch, we were talking about, can we hold on? We have literally three starting pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
And they found a way, so guys like, Landon Knack. I mean, we would have never probably been in this position without what Landon Knack gave us the last few months of the season up until, I just think he got a little overwhelmed in the playoffs. I do. And then the World Series.
You blame him?
No, not at all. Ben Kasparius, I mean, River Ryan. There's a lot of guys you can name that we probably wouldn't have even been in this situation without them. Um, Young guys, rookies. Uh, Brent Honeywell Jr. I know his last outing wasn't, you know, good at all, but he saved our bullpen and made it possible for what happened last night. The Yankees will have nightmares about that top of the fifth inning for sure.
100%. But Anthony Rizzo will have nightmares about that for the
Judge,
rest of his life.
uh, yeah, Judge dropping a routine fly ball. I'm not saying that the play that Volpe had to throw to third, he rushed it. If he would have made a good throw, they would have had the force it at third, but he threw it into the runner. All those things, those three plays were vital to the Dodgers getting back in the game. But
Yeah,
the one you're talking about with Rizzo, it's as much Garrett Cole's fault too. he didn't break to first base. So,
Well, yeah,
and
yeah, and he just pointed. He said, you go," but it was too
yeah,
late.
and well, it just that wasn't a chargeable ball because there was so much spin on it if you saw it.
Hmm?
And the key to that play was Mookie busting it right out of the box. Half the guys, I could say someone like, I'll bet you Manny Machado would have thrown his bat down in disgust and not even run it out. You know, um, he busted his tail from the get go and put pressure on them. And yeah, it just took that one, that one false step by Cole, and that was that. So and then the Dodgers did what they had to do. Teoscar hit the big double. Freddie had it. It just,
Yeah,
if we're being honest, a lot of people probably, once it was 5-0, said, "All right, here we go. Let's get ready, pack it up, and go play in LA." And I mean that if we wouldn't have come back, that.
I'm gonna I'm gonna read you a part of a text message string,
Okay,
Mikey, and this is coming from a really good friend of mine who's a Yankees fan. I've known him for 15 years. Um, Great guy, absolutely great guy.
I bet I
After the
know him.
first, you don't actually, you've never met
Oh,
him.
this isn't that guy. Okay.
No, no, you've actually never met him. And so last night I was texting him once the game started, and let me see, let me find it here. Okay, here it is. His name's Frank, and I said, "Here we go, Frankie." And he said, "Oh yeah, our ace is on, and so is Judge, right?" Because Garrett Cole got out of the first inning on like 7 pitches. And this is after the first inning when Aaron Judge hit the ball to Brooklyn,
Yeah.
right? And so, I thought, I'm like, "Ugh, these guys are ready to go." And I looked at him, or I mean, I looked after the third inning and I said, "There's still 21 outs to go." And he says they have their bags packed, seriously, meaning they have their bags packed going to LA. And I said, "They're sure playing like it." And I said, "But you can't give the Dodgers too much room." This is before the fifth inning,
Yeah.
right? And then we talked about the fifth inning, but when he was talking to me about he says that Cole blew it, not breaking to first. I hope it doesn't cost him. And then when the Dodgers scored 5 runs in the fifth inning, he just responded and said, "Unbelievable, brand new game." And then he says 96 pitches thrown and still throwing 98. He has to finish this game. The Yankees have to get him a couple of runs to hype him up. And he was right. It felt like the bullpen fell apart. Cole already had like 105 pitches after 6 or 7. After 7, he couldn't keep going. But there is no tomorrow if you lose.
No,
So,
that first inning, you could see it in Cole's demeanor, everything. He just looked focused. I mean, the
oh, my
guy
Gatorade,
was,
I got this.
yeah, just like wasn't looking around. I mean, it was just tunnel vision, not breathing heavy, not anything, just walking off the field the same way. I mean, just I thought, I'm like, this is gonna be a tough night. And then Flaherty came out and just,
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know what to call that, but it was a disaster.
It was
That
worse
we'll
than crap in
call
the
it.
bed, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a disaster, and it put, having had a bullpen game the day before just made it even worse. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but you know what? This team's done what they've done all year. They next manned up, and found a couple holes and a couple opportunities that the Yankees gave them, and punched through the wall.
I'm going to say that there's two people that saved these last 2 games for the Dodgers. Landon Knack pitching 3 innings in game 4 to hold the bullpen to not having to do a lot of work. right? And granted, it wasn't the best showing in the world, but the kid's what, 22 or 23? I mean, he we didn't expect him. We expected Bobby Miller. We expected there's a number of other players that we expected not land a net. You and I didn't knack, snack, crack, what? Who is this kid? Right. And so at the, when they started bringing him up, he had that great game in Miami in whatever it was, July or August. Um, that's number one. Number two, Blake Trinan pitching the way he did in game 5 2 nights ago. He basically said, listen, I did not do well last time. I'm going to make up for it right now. And I was sitting with a friend watching the game, and I said, he's going to go out for another inning. He's going to go out for another inning. That um, Dave Roberts is going to give him a lot more love. And so, anyways,
Yeah,
those
Dave
two
Roberts
guys.
said it. He went out there and he said he wanted to see the look in Blake Trinan's eyes. When he asked him how he was doing, he said, I want this. I want to finish this. This is my inning, and he gets the pop up on the infield from Stanton, and then everybody's favorite Alex Verdugo strikes out to end it. So couldn't have happened to a better guy in that piece of garbage.
Ouch. Rough crowd, rough crowd. Okay, so
He made
Mikey,
some rough statements.
he,
So
he did. He did. So, Mikey, you and I bleed blue. And we are far past the 2017 Dodgers. You and I go back to the infield days, right? Lopes, Russell say. Okay, we go back a long time. Um, you and I have watched a lot of baseball, watched a lot of terrible Dodger teams. And when I'm talking about terrible, everybody, I know you don't believe it, but there were terrible Dodger teams out there. Go back past 2017. Our breath of fresh air for a lot of years was Manny Ramirez coming over and us getting to the league championship series against the Cubs in 2016. We had never thought that was going to happen. So that being said, walk the casual fan through this season over the next couple of minutes for the Dodgers.
I mean, it's hard. This season had so many different things. I mean, we're gonna, we'll start with injuries. I mean, right off the get go in spring training, we're gonna have this guy back, and this guy gets hurt. This guy's supposed to be back, took a step back. Then you had the Shohei interpreter deal. That injuries, Freddie Freeman stuff that he went through, Mookie Betts broken wrist. And like I said, all the Dodgers pitching injuries, especially the starters, they went through a lot to get where they are now. I mean, it's really incredible if you ask me. I just I thought we were going to be pitching short, definitely pitching shy, and they proved me wrong. And our bullpen deserves just a lot of accolades. And I know Daniel Hudson didn't have his best series by any means, but you get a ring, enjoy your retirement. He announced his retirement, so I'm glad he's going out on a high note for a guy who has gone through a lot of injuries and some of them not related to his arm. So, yeah, it was just, I couldn't even go on last night because I was emotional. Damon, our buddy Damon from Australia, did a nice video and he broke down, but I just yeah, I couldn't do it. I just soaked it all in, watched all the, champagne, watched the interviews, and
Yep.
just soaked it all in. It was definitely a grind of a season, but what an amazing journey and a finish to it. God rest Kobe's soul, but he can job's done for this year. Job's
Yeah,
finished.
job's finished. So I agree with you. If you're gonna, when you watch the DVD or whatever nowadays that they're gonna create the 2024 champion Dodgers, you watch the video. I mean, just the people that went out and what Dave Roberts had to do, and lots of times he had to try to play chess in a checkers game and had to play checkers in a chess game and try to make different things work. Um, I'm going to put you in the GM position for a second, and then I'm going to ask you about Dave Roberts. I'm going to put you in the GM position. You're the GM now. I walk in, I have lunch with you, right? And you say, Bill, come on in the office. I'm gonna there you go, Doc. There you go. Mikey's wearing a shirt that says Doc on it.
It's
So,
Dave
okay.
Roberts on the back with his number two.
So if I walk into your office, you're the GM, and I walk in and I say, Mikey, and I look at your whiteboard and I say, oh my gosh, who are you going after? Who's on your whiteboard? Who are you chasing after? Who are you giving contracts to? Do you give a contract to Teo? Do you give a contract to Walker Bueller? Do you give a contract to, I mean, do you go after Jack? Do you go after some of these other free agents like Blake Snell? What do you do?
That's a little early for me as far as some of the outsiders looking in, but I would definitely want Teoscar back. Um, he wants to be here. You just have to find a number that is fair to both sides. I don't think you can break the bank for Teoscar by any means. I don't think he's a cornerstone, you know, highest paid left fielder type, but he deserves a nice raise and a good 3-year deal of some sort.
Mhm.
Walker Bueller is another tough one because we have so many pitchers coming back, but we've said this before about embarrassment of riches, and look what we came down to. So I would bring him back again. Um, Try and find some nice common ground. I mean, the Dodgers have taken very good care of Walker Bueller.
Yeah,
He's not played for 2 full years because of Tommy Johns, and yet the Dodgers, have paid him well. I'd like to see him come back. I would say definitely yes to those two. Do we need a Blake Snell? No. Would I cry if we got him? No. He would be good in anybody's rotation. But those are the first two really right off the bat I would take care of first. I really haven't seen a list of our free agent list yet. I know those are two big ones though.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know Kershaw already said he wants to come back. Um, it sounds like gonna if it's his option, he's coming back. I don't know if the Dodgers have any say in it, and I'm sure they would never say no. So
yeah.
he's coming back. Otani's going to be on the pitching side next season. We should have Dustin May back. It wasn't even his arm that kept him away from the second half of this season. So it was a
Yeah.
torn esophagus. Tony Gonsolin should be fighting for a spot. I could see Tony Gonsolin if everybody's healthy back to Glasnow and Gavin Stone and all these arms. I would see more Tony Gonsolin being like a long relief guy. If someone poops the bed early in a game, he would come in and take down some bulk innings. Um, we got a lot of pitchers coming back, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. But definitely, I want Teoscar back. Um,
Sense.
and I'd like to have Walker Bueller back. And the way both of them talk, I mean, Bueller made it sound like he would love to come back. But money talks and agents play a role in that stuff too, and we'll see.
So the final question that I have for the Bleeding Blue episode, and folks, we're going to be doing Bleeding Blue not every week in the off season, but we'll do it a couple of times a month for you. So you'll get it in the locker room, get it on YouTube. And the reason we do that is because Mikey and I have a lot of knowledge about the Dodgers that we can impart. So to folks. So Mikey, let's start with that. I'm looking at some statistics. Walter Alston manages the Dodgers for 23 seasons. He gets 2,040 wins, winning percentage 558. Um, was in a bazillion World Series and won four of them. Because back
Hall of
then,
Famer. Hall of
yeah,
Famer.
yeah, back then he started in 1954. Back when the Dodgers were still, they were playing the Yankees. It felt like every season, right?
Yeah.
But
Funny
but he went.
story, real quick about that is
Uh-huh.
I think from 54 till he retired in what was it, 74, 75, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 70, 75 after 75.
That, yeah, I think he was on 1 year contracts every single year of his career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just in case he wanted to be done. And so he gets the World Series in 55. Um, First one in Brooklyn. Gets one in 63 in Los Angeles and 65 in Los Angeles. Um, I mean, obviously uh, you know, a great guy. Tommy Lasorda manages the Dodgers for 21 seasons and gets 1,599 wins with a 526 win percentage. He is been to four World Series and he wins two. Doc, 627 winning percentage, 851 wins over 9 seasons, been to four World Series, won two. So he's tied Tommy with that.
And
If you're
asterisk, please, we got cheated out of one as well. I know it doesn't count, but I want an asterisk there. If people want to put asterisks on the 60-game season, I want an asterisk that we got jobbed in 2017.
100%. So if you are the Dodger brass, I know there's been a lot of talk about Dave Roberts. Are you looking at this guy now and saying he is our manager now and he is the guy in the future? And I have one opinion on that, but I'm going to wait until you say what you feel.
Yeah, I think I would say it for Aaron Boone as well, and probably being the Mets or one of those just teams that has an unlimited amount of money and things like that. I know that you know they expect a lot from you. Um,
Mhm.
but what he does outside of even managing and how people seem to love the guy, and he's just a good people person and a family man, and he does a lot more than just coach, manage this baseball team.
Yeah.
I'd give him a 5 year deal. You
Yeah.
know, if something happened where we weren't playing well for a couple years and we had all this talent and stuff, then at least if he lost his job, he would have a nice chunk of change to you know, at least he'll find another job right away, probably, but
Mhm.
you know, he'll be taken care of, financially. And yeah, I think he deserves another 5 years. And if he comes close to anything he's even doing the next 5 years, and God rest his soul, he's going to blow right by Tommy, you know? And does that make him better than Tommy? No. Does it make Tommy better than Dave? No. They both deserve to be
Mhm.
Hall of Fame managers and are held in the utmost respect.
If
With
if
what we
Dave,
have, oh, go ahead.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just with what we have, if you sign him to a 5 year deal, he'll get a third for
Yeah.
sure. I think in there.
Yeah. If he managed another 14 seasons to manage or to match or to manage as long as Walter Alston did, at current rates, he would blow past Walter Alston by maybe 150, 200 wins, which would put him at like 2,200 wins in his career.
Yeah, and I don't even know. I mean, I know no one's catching Connie Mack. I mean, that guy. I think he's like, isn't he over 5,000 wins? I mean, he was with the A's for like 50 years, and he couldn't be fired because he also owned the team. So,
Right, right, right.
you know, um, the general thing you hear about managers that have been in one spot too long is that it gets stale. The team seems to get stale. I just haven't seen it with how Mookie and these guys talk about Dave Roberts, you know. So no, the guy deserves his roses, you know. Lay off him now.
Con- Connie
Yeah,
Mack had 3,731 wins.
3,700. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, and he did that probably 45 something years, something like that, 50 years.
He did it for 56 years.
Yeah. And like I said, he couldn't be fired. He was the owner. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a nice little
Little perk.
package to
Little
have
perk.
there.
Little perk. Yeah.
Little job security. Am I going to fire myself? I don't know. No, probably not. Okay.
So Mikey, what I saw 2 nights ago, when I saw Dave Roberts go out to the mound and look in Blake Treinen's eyes, tap him on the chest and walk away. And then to listen to the radio interview afterwards, he says, all I wanted to do was look in his eyes. And he said, Skip, I want the ball. I want it.
Mm-hmm.
That showed me that not only is he a great manager, but he's a great players manager. And I obviously you and I didn't know about the conversation prior, but hearing it from that perspective, that shows you that Dave Roberts is the guy.
Yeah. It's not all analytics. That was a gut feel on his part. That's why he wanted to see the look in his eye. You know, if there was any trepidation whatsoever in that look, he was going to pull him.
Yeah.
But he went out there and analytics probably said, wow, he's throwing probably 17 more pitches than he's thrown all year right now already. And he's struggling a tiny bit, you know. And when I got someone warming up right now. So
Yep.
he saw the look and that was good enough for him. And, you know, he'll never get the roses he deserves. Just people just won't let it happen for some reason. But he deserves a lot more than what he gets. You know, he deserves a lot more recognition than just saying, "Oh, well, I could win with that team." You know, they're so good that you could just let it run itself. You can't. If you were going to do that, you know, guys would be tired because they're like, I don't want to come out. I'm not coming out. Whatever, you know. So no, Dave Roberts is he's the right man for this part of the Dodger era we're in. Don Mattingly, I'm sure, is kicking himself saying, you know, I'll take a little less to stay here. But no, he wanted bigger money, and look at him now.
Then look at him now. So, well, Mikey, we've got so much to talk about in the offseason with the Dodgers.
Yeah. Real quick, we didn't even talk about, like, I've just seen notes today about, like, Freddie Freeman was playing with a broken rib or something.
Yep.
I mean,
I
broken
think
rib, half a broken foot, probably. And he's MVP. And, you know, and not just Dave Roberts, but Andrew Friedman deserves a big shout out too for what he brought us at the trade deadline. Because without Kopech and Edman and Flaherty, we're not here.
No, we're not. And so you got to give them love too. And yeah, 100%, 100%. I can spend an hour bragging about this team and what they did and the adversity that they overcome. I could spend an hour bragging about 2 or 3 other teams. I mean, look at what the Mets did. Look at what the Tigers did. The Tigers are sellers at the trade deadline. That's how we got Jack.
Yeah.
and they turned it around. So
There is one thing I want to say, and the people who do watch this, um, will you tell them where they can find it real quick?
oh, you're talking about Dugout Mugs?
This, yes, this
Oh,
episode right here.
you can find it on YouTube, and you can also find it in the locker room on TopFanRivalry.com.
So my statement to that is, if you watch these things, we could do plenty of shows on just questions you have,
Yes.
feel free to ask questions, and Bill will jot them down and we will go through every one of them.
Mhm.
You know you like to say there are no dumb questions, but some probably are. But don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be afraid.
That's why we're here, and that's why we do
Do what
this.
we do. Yep. Well, Mikey, I've got first and foremost, everybody, if you go to topfanrivalry.com, you can go right into the team store. We have cut a deal with Dugout Mugs to create a world champion Los Angeles Dodgers dugout mug. Okay. Use the code bleeds blue. You get 10% off. Okay. The
I
dugout
moved
mug
mine
is yeah, the dugout mug is 62.99. The 10% off saves you almost $7. If you go directly to dugout mugs, that same mug is going to cost you $80. So you're
Yeah.
saving about
We're
22%.
gonna post something on my page as well,
Yep.
and in my story. So we'll get that out there to you guys. It's a good looking cup, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a must have for
I
documenting a great 2024 season.
I know that I got a message from Mikey's crew that he's going to buy 27 of them for all of his family. And he
For
used Danny's
27 outs, 27 of them for 27 outs.
yeah, and he used Danny's credit card, but it didn't go through. So we'll have to try. We'll have to try. Anyways, go check that out. And Mikey, the last thing that we need to say, and this is very important. And all joking aside, guys, this has been a phenomenal season. There have been highs, there have been lows, there have been great moments, there have been somber moments. But the last thing that I want to say, and going into the break here, Mikey, and you can say it too, is if you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky. All respect to Mr. Fernando Valenzuela. You will be missed at the stadium. You will be missed with that big old smile of yours. And we sure doggone appreciate you.
For sure. That's very well said.
Yeah. So everybody, make sure that you're subscribing to the Top Fan Rivalry YouTube page. Pay attention to what's happening. We have a phenomenal thing coming up on the 13th of the month. You will hear about it on the website. Go check that out. And Mikey and I will schedule to do this again either next week or the week after. And we'll start with some Dodger history. We'll answer your questions like you said. So, Mikey, let's do it again, my friend.
All right, buddy.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Champions.
Champions.